In Phantom Forces, we have tons of weapons, but a lot of them are forgettable or are just barely different from others at best. In my opinion, we have 3 whole categories of weapons which don't really have any distinction from each other gameplay-wise. PDWs, Carbines, and Assault Rifles. These also happen to be the 3 most populated categories of weapons as well. If you don't understand my opinion, here's a little example. These are the stats of an unknown mystery weapon, and you're gonna have to guess what category it belongs to. Before I give the answer, I'm going to go through some of the stats. The velocity of this gun is a bit high, so it's probably not a PDW. The minimum range is low, but none of these categories really have any sort of trend in relation to range stats. Because of this, we really don't have much to go off of to determine what category it belongs to. The wall penetration is half a stud, the same as the SCAR PDW, which is also a carbine for some reason, so let's say carbine. That velocity looks consistent with many PDWs. The ranges are short, but the penetration is too high for a PDW, right? Actually, weapons like the P90, MP40, UMP45, L2A3, and MP7 all have the ability to get penetration over 1.5 studs. There are also short-barreled rifles, also known as carbines, in the PDW category, so maybe this is a PDW. Wrong, it's the Groza 4, which is a carbine. These 3 weapon categories don't have any sort of trend to distinguish them from each other in Phantom Forces. I'm not saying it's all bland, sometimes there are cool outliers stat-wise, especially in the carbine category, but overall, we don't need any more weapons with stats like these. But players suggest more, and more are coming. When you have so many guns with similar attributes and you'd like to add another, generally one of 4 things happens. This gun's a gimmick. This gun is a direct upgrade to another gun. This gun is a direct downgrade from another gun. Or, number 4, this gun is so similar to another gun that they're basically the same. I don't think any of these outcomes are good unless the gun, which it's a direct upgrade to, is intentionally bad. This is a bit unorthodox, but in my opinion, stats should be made first to fill in the gaps, then guns can be found which would match these stats. So that's what I've done with my stat ideas. Before I start, I do have to clarify that this has all been done for fun as a cool conceptual thing, and I don't expect anything to come out of it. However, if any of these ideas get picked up, the guns themselves aren't really important, it's just the stats, which I feel add something new to the game. Although the stats were considered before the weapons were picked, I went back and made some adjustments to fit the weapons that they were paired with. These stats don't have to be seen as final. Here we go. The Ruger PC-4 is a lightweight pistol-caliber carbine chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson. Gameplay-wise, this would be like a stronger M9 or Glock 17 that takes up your primary slot. A fast-firing, low-recoil semi-auto with high damage at close range, but rapid damage drop-off, low velocity, and low penetration. Since it shoots .40 Smith & Wesson, it would also have access to +P ammo, which increases the velocity, range, and penetration, but also the recoil. The damage at under 48 studs is very high, allowing you to kill in 2 shots if you hit the torso or head once. Once you reach 92 studs, you are no longer able to 3-hit kill to the torso, and past 102 studs, you need to hit the torso, otherwise it will be a 5-hit kill. The reload isn't particularly fast, but you do have a 20+1 round magazine. As previously mentioned, these ranges can be extended with +P ammo. A weapon with comparable stats is the SA-58 SPR. When compared to the SA-58, this gun has lower recoil, better handling, faster reloads, and higher RPM. However, the SA-58 has better velocity, wall penetration, damage, and range. This gun would go into the carbine category. The field pistol is a large handgun that fires a special cartridge designed for power and range out of a short barrel length. In-game, the gun would perform similarly to the Deagle L5, except it doesn't get a 2-hit kill to the torso or a 3-hit kill at max range. However, the field pistol does have a 16-round magazine, less recoil, slightly higher RPM, and access to a stock. At closer distances, the Deagle L5 would be a better option due to its long 2-hit kill torso range, but at long range, the field pistol would be superior due to its lesser recoil, larger magazine, and same minimum hits required to kill. This gun can headshot kill up to around 70 studs, and it'll kill with 3 limb shots up to 107 studs. Beyond this distance, the damage drops down to 28, but it could still kill with 1 headshot and 1 shot anywhere else at all ranges. This gun would go into the pistols category. The L4A4 is a post-World War II version of the Bren light machine gun converted to 7.62 NATO. This gun was used in combat up until the Gulf War in 1990 with the British Army, and it can still be found in use with the Indian military today. In-game, this gun would be the highest damaging LMG, but with many downsides to balance it out. The L4A4 is capable of killing with 2 hits to the torso up to 114 studs, or 2 hits to the head up to 195 studs. But, despite being magazine-fed, this gun would have similar handling and reload speeds to the belt-fed LMGs. The L4A4 would also start with a 20-round magazine by default, the 30-rounder being an ammo attachment. As with most extended magazines, there would be further handling deficiencies added. This gun would have very high recoil even despite its low RPM, and its vertical magazine would take up a large portion of your screen when you ADS. Compared to autos of other categories, most LMGs give up their handling in exchange for capacity and range. This gun gives up its mobility, controllability, and capacity in exchange for damage. Imagine a gun that has the slowness of the M60, the recoil of the G3, but the damage and range of the Mark 11. This isn't 100% accurate to the stats I made, but it's a very close analogy. This gun would go into the LMG category. The American 180 is an extremely high capacity, high RPM, and overall ridiculous submachine gun. It would fire at 1350 RPM with extremely low recoil out of the largest magazine in the game. However, these bullets would do very low damage even when scoring a headshot and have next to no penetration. This gun is essentially if the Zip-22's auto conversion made it out of the test place as a primary. To compare it to weapons we already have in game, it would be like if the Rama 1130 was taken to the extreme. This gun would go into the PDW category. The Remington 7.615 is a pump-action rifle which takes Stanag magazines. It's popular in Australia as an AR-15 alternative due to their gun laws. In terms of gameplay, this gun would be a headshot killer in between the SVU and SSR in RPM. However, it gives up its range for capacity, velocity, mobility, and handling. This gun would start with a 20-round magazine and identical handling to assault rifles. A 30-round magazine would be available in the ammo slot. Unlike the Scar SSR and Dragunov SVU, this gun will not be able to 2-hit kill to the torso at all ranges, and it can't even 2-hit kill to the limbs at close range. In case you were wondering, it is possible to operate a pump action at 180 RPM. In Phantom Forces, we have faster trigger fingers than the world champion, so having the ability to pump as fast as him isn't too out of character. The Remington 7.600 series of rifles can come in a variety of different calibers, so this gun has a lot of potential for conversions. This gun can fit into a multitude of different categories, so I wasn't sure what to put there. The Model 5510 is an incredibly long-barreled 10-gauge bolt-action shotgun. Also known as the Super Goose Gun, the Model 5510 would be the best shotgun for long range, but with some downsides that balance it out. This gun would have the lowest handling and RPM out of the shotgun category, but with superior velocity and choke. The damage of the Model 5510 is less than the DB and the KS-23M at close range, but it has less drop-off over distance. The Super Goose Gun only has a 2+1 round magazine. To compensate for this, it's given a fast reload speed. At closer ranges, this gun would perform identically to a sniper rifle due to its tight choke and high velocity. 1900 studs per second is high for a buckshot round, but compared to long-range weapons, it's subpar. As the distance increases, the player would have to account for high bullet drop. This gun would be a great choice for people who like to aggro snipe. Unfortunately, you'll be limited by the 2-round magazine and low penetration in some cases. Here are the stats for slug ammo. I created the slug stats in the same way that they create them for all the other shotguns. This gun would go into the shotgun category, and that concludes all of our 6 weapon suggestions. Thank you for making it to the end. Goodbye. Dun, dun.